Call the meeting to order, Conservation Commission, for February 20th, 2019. First item on the agenda is to call the meeting, approval of minutes. We only have January 16th.
Correct.
So can I get a motion to approve
Motion
January 16th?
approved, January 16th minutes.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries. We'll table the 6th and the 20th of February. Next item on the agenda is continued from January 16th, a public hearing, notice of intent, Robert Stevens, Genevieve Road, map 82, lot 19, DEP 305-1071.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. My name is David Plunkett, representing the applicant. Here with me tonight is the applicant, Rob Stevens, and I think this is just a, tie up loose ends from previous hearings.
I just want to note that I was not here for the January 16th meeting, but I have read the meeting minutes, so.
That's fine.
And, Ms. Gallo, do you want to take the commission through these review letters that have come in? To me, like, the big issue is the staircase. The DEP's worried about the flood storage too, I believe.
I read Mr. Erickson's correspondence back to the commission indicating that, there was some de minimis impact in that, worst-case scenario that, they could put in a metal staircase that wouldn't be affected then by the calculations.
So what were you planning on putting in there right now? Like timber?
As it stands right now, on the plan, it does say timber.
So just talking about just a regular staircase going up made out of wood?
Yes, timber, yeah.
Okay. So, then we have the 25-foot no disturb zone, right? Permanent demarcation. Do you see the request for the 25-foot no disturb demarcation? Ms. Gallo?
I mean, truthfully, I have not been, it's been Mr. Erickson who had been carrying that, and I just looked at his response to request for information, and
Anthony, do you have any questions? I need to read through this a little bit more. To be all right, so you're.
I'm good.
Yeah,
Has this been approved by the planning board yet?
it's actually a small lot. We did get a small lot determination. We actually went to the planning board because there was, back in, I think, 1998, some reference to a determination as to whether California Road was, they approved it, but there was a caveat that the board make a determination that was built out to standards for ingress and egress, and then there was no record of them making a formal determination of that. So we did go back in April of 2018, and the board did make a determination that, it was built out as required, so we were able to get our small lot determination. And we have a letter. Again, it was my understanding that I had provided this to Mr. Erickson, and it was my belief that he had provided the board with the letter. Did the board receive the letter that I had sent to Mr. Erickson? It was,
No, they have not.
okay. Well, I apologize for that then, and I have a letter, Mr. Chairman, that I could give to you from, this was the correspondence that I received, was copied on from Attorney Zaroulis to Mr. Johnson, in which he indicates that, reviewed the documents and find that the applicant is entitled to apply for a building permit under Chapter 48, Section 6, 4th paragraph, small lot exception. And he then also makes reference that the planning board approved the construction of California Road, and he attached the minutes from April 9th of 2018. So I apologize that you did not receive this. I can give you a copy for the records at this time if that's...
So we're just basically, this is the buildable lot?
Yes, and actually what I'll do is I'll also include my initial email to Mr. Erickson in terms of, it was my understanding there was some question about the need for a ZBA approval, but, our position, and I had talked with Attorney Zaroulis, you could confer with him also, was that, with a small lot determination, there's a decision that this lot qualifies as a buildable lot under the grandfather provisions of the general laws. And therefore, we would not have to go to the ZBA for a variance because that would basically undercut the protective nature of the grandfather provision of the law if we were required then to go for some type of discretionary grant of a variance. So this would be something that we're able to, with the determination that it's a buildable lot protected under 40A, that we're able to go forward and request placement of the structure as deemed a reasonable location on the lot, and that's what the intent would be. And so I have submitted that April 16th correspondence from Attorney Zaroulis with a copy of the, copy of the April 16th letter from the planning board indicating that they have approved that, and that Attorney Zaroulis indicating that it has been approved as a grandfathered lot.
Okay, so the only issue that I see then is these floodplain calculations. There's an elevate. Do you have a plot plan with the elevations on it? So at 87.8, I'm looking at the floodplain volume calculations.
Yeah.
From Mr. Erickson. And there's this like cumulative storage, compensatory flood storage, but if you look at the elevation, 85.5 is where the flood storage is, but 87.8 is where it also needs some flood storage. So it's sort of like, I'm just wondering, on your property, you can't actually get these elevations for like 87.8 or any of these other ones done on the plot plan because, why? There's no house there right now.
No, it's a vacant parcel
So you
of land.
basically have all the area,
Yeah.
and there's no restrictions on you creating compensatory flood storage. So I don't understand why the engineering calculations can't just come out to be, dead on. It's like, here you go, we're building a house and we need to do compensatory flood storage at these levels, and you haven't done it.
I apologize, but, I know enough about engineering to know I know nothing about engineering, and I'm not sure why, it was my understanding that these issues were addressed by Mr. Erickson and that he wasn't appearing here tonight because of that, and
Have you seen comments from the DEP as well?
I have not.
You have not?
I have not, no, Mr.
So
Erickson.
they made comments for, Stefania, do you have
It was about the flood storage as well. I spoke to Maureen about it, and she is aware of them. So, it was just that they wanted to see the location of the flood storage on the plan, and they wanted to see the fill and cut tables, which they are on the plan, so it may just be that they did not see them on the plans, or they're looking for more, but Maureen was aware, so.
So DEP is looking for more information on the plans.
They don't go into detail of the comments, that's,
Okay, but I think that's what we're looking for too, is the compensatory flood storage has to be at all levels, where there is gonna be, I mean, it's on the riverfront, it's in a floodplain, putting it on piers, but anything that is, sunk in, or anything that needs to be compensated for has to be at all levels of the floodplain, according to the calculations. I don't know if it was her or Mr. Erickson, but said they don't have flood storage at those levels. So,
Again, my apologies, because I was here supposed to be on a very narrow issue, and
And
the
issue
understanding,
was what?
just in terms of whether the planning board and, the town had approved this, and that we'd gone through the small lot determination. We got the determination that California Road was, built to the satisfaction of the planning board in order to provide the frontage for the small lot determination, and that it was approved the same. And, as to the engineering issues, again, it was my understanding that Mr. Erickson was, given certain items of concern, that he provided information that was supposed to address those concerns. And, if it didn't, I would have to apologize for that, and also apologize for the fact I can't address issues that are in Mr. Erickson's realm of expertise. And I can't speak to it.
Right, so, are we looking for modified plans or not? I mean,
Well, Mr. Chairman, my question was originally the planning board approved the lot.
The planning board did not approve the lot. This is a pre-existing small lot that a determination was submitted to the town, and the planning board did make a determination in order to have the sufficient frontage for a small lot determination, that we had sufficient frontage for the town to determine that this was a grandfathered buildable lot. We did go back to the planning board in April of 2018 for that determination that California Road was built to the satisfaction of the board for ingress and egress. But the approval of the lot was through the process under Chapter 48, in which we have to do a submittal to the building commissioner's office, who then who then turns the proposal over to town council, and town council will then review, and, any questions or issues, he will then address it with,
I guess the question I'm trying to get at is, did they approve the building on the lot?
if
It's
I
not
could-
the planning
if I
board's
could interrupt for
jurisdiction.
1 second. So, what you're getting at is the planning board approved it as a buildable lot. And I know that it may be grandfathered for the reasons that were stated in your email. So I did speak to the building commissioner. At this time, he needs to look into it further. So he can't make a determination on whether or not a variance is going to be required. He'll just need to look into that. But, whether or not it's required, if we do issue an order of conditions, I think it should just be noted that if there's any changes for some reason, they'll need to come back to us.
Okay.
But I don't think it should affect our decisions here.
All right.
It is my position that there is no variance needed, that this is a duly recognized buildable small lot, and therefore we have a right to go in and request for a building permit on the lot.
I mean, it's like right in the floodplain. Okay, so you're gonna be, so it's gonna be up on piers, and you're not gonna be, what's gonna be around the foundation? It's just gonna be flow-through?
Can be flow through.
Well, it's up on pilings, what's around the pilings? Is it gonna be just up on stilts, that you can see the stilts? Are they gonna be covered up?
They're going to be, I mean, there's going to have to be something to kind of cover that up, but it'll be completely flow through.
Right, it'll be what?
Flow through, completely flow
Flow-through,
through,
right,
right.
so we probably wouldn't need details on that. So what is the flow-through of what's going to be in the floodplain? So.
You want some
floodplain,
details on
Where
that?
it is, going to have documentation of how that flow-through is. And then we probably do want the metal stairways,
Okay,
so that'll be a nice flow-through too. Then we don't have to talk about compensatory flood storage.
okay.
We
metal
can just
stair-
talk about not impeding the flow of the Shawshene River. Right, so that to me is, from what I gather, what the DEP is looking for is compensatory flood storage, but they also don't want the flow to be impeded. So the design of how that's going to happen.
Okay. No, we can provide that.
Yeah. All
We'll
right,
provide
and then
that.
we're going to do the metal staircase, so we don't have to.
We'll provide
worry
that.
about Compensatory flood storage.
And we'll provide the details
Or
for
you
that.
actually, you can still do it, the compensatory flood, the 225, to some additional for your own house? Is that what you were planning? Or you're
Not for my own house, no.
You're not going to do that anymore then?
No.
The 225 compensatory flood storage that's on the plan right now,
Mm-hmm.
we're going to keep that.
I believe that we're going to keep that, according to
Okay,
Mr.
so
Erickson,
We're going
yes.
to keep the 225, going to make it metal staircases, and we're going to see a diagram of the foundation and how the flow-through is going to happen with the floodplain of the Shawshene, right?
Yes,
Okay. Does that make sense?
flow through.
Yeah, whatever you request.
Does that make sense, Mr. Holland?
Okay, with me?
All right. So I think have that within the next within 2 weeks, the next meeting?
Yes, I'll have Mr. Erickson get on that.
All right, great. And then hopefully everything will be all satisfied with the DEP, or at least what we envision them to be concerned with.
Okay.
All right, we kind of have to read their minds sometimes. All right, so can I get a motion to continue to,
Public hearing, Mr. Chairman?
pardon me? Oh, public hearing, anyone be heard? Yes, ma'am. Just introduce yourself for the record.
Betty Anzacula, 49 California Road.
Uh-huh.
I'm also speaking for my neighbor, 59 California, because they couldn't be here due to work schedules. After I got the plan, I went back, and I know they said they only have to take down a few trees. When I got the plan and I looked at it, they have to take down approximately 10 to 12, probably 100-foot trees. If you look at these pine trees, absorb approximately 30 gallons of water per day. I'm just curious where, according to my calculations, 30 gallons of water, 12 trees, 360 gallons of water per day, comes to about 100,000 gallons per year. I'm just wondering where all that water is going to go to. 59 California, has flooded in the past, and now with that extra, 100,000 gallons worth of water a year, over 10 years, it's 1 million gallons of water. Where is that water going to? Is that going now, like I had made before, it goes, where the Shawshene goes around, there's a little creek that ends up in, way back of my yard. Where
have
is
any
that, all
comment
that
on that?
water going to go?
I mean, I would assume that the calculations will address all issues relevant to the changes to the site, and that, it will meet the criteria that's necessary for development. Any development, there's going to be some residual effect, but the question is, what is the total impact of that to the site? And that's what the engineering calculations and determination is for. That's what the DEP gets involved in, and you're never going to have something that,
Do they normally do the loss of water storage from trees?
No.
Yeah, I don't think they normally take that into consideration. I understand what you're saying, trees like absorb water.
They're right on the river anyways, and now
Right.
that water's just going to raise up further. I mean, I had to pay over $1,000 a few years back to get my house out of the flood zone. I had to pay, and I don't want to have now, go to refinance, the next thing you know, I have to pay, $3,000 to get flood insurance. How that has been affected. And I also just.
Well, I mean, if you're taking trees out, wouldn't that, you're taking away the root system? You're like just grinding it level? Is that what you're planning on doing with the trees?
I didn't even think of that at this point.
How are you removing the trees?
And normally you would just cut them and then you'd grind the stump.
Stump grind it,
Yeah.
and then you gotta bring in fill
And then
for it?
and
Or
it would just stay level.
just level it out?
Yeah.
Right, so,
Those trees are like, just looking up, I'm guessing about 100 feet high. And when they originally said there would be a few trees they'd take out, when I looked at the plan, actually went over there and saw where my neighbor's house where I saw the trees. They're the huge trees that I'd be.
Can you do, when you're redoing the engineer, you're gonna have to talk to them, can you just have them explain why the loss of tree cover doesn't really affect flood storage? Just kind of like an explanation of why right?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
It is a valid concern, and, being this close to the riverfront, and it's an unaltered site. I mean, it's, undeveloped.
Yeah.
We need to make it as close to nature as possible, without any increased flood storage. I mean, without, taking care of any flood storage, taking care of flow of the Shawshene, and all that, so. Does that make sense?
Yeah, we'll ask Mr. Erickson to,
I'm making a note of that right now as you speak, so.
Explain why losing the trees is not going to affect flood storage. All right?
And I just have one other, I don't even know if it would be for you guys or for you, but when you said that you had that meeting last April, none of the abutters had to be notified of that meeting, that they were going to consider change,
no, there was no, it wasn't a change of anything. It was, clarification of, as indicated initially, the approval for actually the parcel that I think there's a structure that's even further down California Road. And the approval, the minutes at that point indicated that the planning board would make a determination that the build-out of California Road was, met the criteria for ingress and egress to that area. And that portion of California, that extension, I should say, of California Road is, the area that goes by the parcel in question, and that provides our access, our frontage. And so that was, more a matter of confirmation of something that the board was supposed to have submitted a note to their file.
So there was
Whatever it
no
was.
public meeting?
No, it wasn't public. It was administrative type of.
Trying to get a building?
Well, yeah, I mean, it was public in the sense that it was on the agenda for determination, so
There's no abutter notice.
it wasn't any notice to abutters or anything of that sort. It was asking the board to clarify what was in the records from prior years. They went out and said, yeah, it was built out, and certainly if you go to the site, you see that California Road was built in order to gain access to that back parcel as was required.
Answer your question?
they approved it based on your drawings right here, or it was just you can build, but they didn't, you specifically.
No, the planning board has absolutely nothing to do with building on this parcel. The planning board made a determination that the roadway was built out as required for that build-out of the house that's even further along California Road. The determination of a small lot application was through the process with the town, which is a process that there's a package that you have to put together, pay your fee, submit it to the town, and then they make a determination whether it meets the criteria of the grandfathered status under Chapter 48. That was done, and that it was a determination that we met all the criteria, and therefore that this parcel of land is a grandfathered buildable lot. That was not a determination of the planning board. That was a determination through the small lot process under the auspices of Chapter 48. So that's not a public hearing. That's, the statute says you meet these criteria, you are a grandfathered buildable lot, and that's what we did.
They said you can build it, but they didn't necessarily, these plans to build this haven't been approved for the town yet.
But when you say they said that we could build
Oh,
it, the
you-
the planning board didn't say anything
Okay, the planning
about
board
building
said it was
it.
a buildable lot, so you have a buildable lot.
No,
Town attorney did.
Town attorney, okay, so the town attorney.
Town attorney said to the
The building-
building
Commissioner.
department that it's okay to make it a buildable lot.
Okay, so it's a buildable lot, but not necessarily these plans you have are approved
Right.
to be built.
Nothing's been approved,
Okay.
as far as,
So
well,
when
not
these-
from this
Well, I
perspective.
guess when these plans go forward, then would that be, in a butters would be in it? Or you,
I
again,
think
you would
that
just go,
ends up being the building department at that point. Just inspection, foundations,
it would only go
electrical.
if it was, they decided that you needed a variance for the back deck, or you
Then they
needed
have
a
to come
variance.
into us for a certificate of compliance, saying that it was built out to specifications. But to,
Department.
I don't know if you have to do an as-built with the building department.
I would assume that they would want it as-built, yes.
Yeah. So then they do a final as-built plan, and then they, and give them an occupancy permit.
So none of the variances matter because it's a small buildable lot? So it would just be whatever their variances are based on those that,
Yeah, well, you're talking like 15 versus 25? and
yeah,
stuff
you know, like
that?
where
Yeah.
they're putting the, you know,
I don't
16
know.
feet.
I don't know those particulars, right? I just know the wetland distances.
Yeah, well, I think that was,
flood
one of our things was that, and just where's all the water going to
storage.
go?
Right, so that's our number one concern as well, being on the Shawshene.
Yeah, and I mean, we have a lot of animals there too, you know, I've had
Make sure
turtles,
that they
coyotes,
don't, we
deer.
just want to make sure that they're not adding anything that isn't compensated for, and they're not impeding the flow of the Shawshene River. So it acts the way that it was before the development was there.
Okay, and then
So
that's
no
just,
increased flooding into adjacent properties, that's number one. No increased flooding, you know, if anything, we want it lower if you can do it, you know, lower is
well, that's
always
when I
better.
saw the trees when I
Yeah.
went there, and I go,
Right.
he's only taking a few trees, and these trees are, you know, these huge trees, where's all that water going?
I understand what your concern is, but hopefully we can alleviate those,
Okay,
all right?
okay, great,
Thank
thanks.
you. All right, can I get a motion to continue to March? March 6th? Second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Thank you.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is a continued public hearing notice of intent for John Veneros, BTGOG LLC, 2131 Main Street, map 96, lot 53, DEP 3051070. Seeing no one.
They're requesting to continue to March 6th.
Okay. Anyone to be heard on that matter? Can I get motion to continue to March 6th?
So moved.
Second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries. And anything else on the agenda that you know is going to be continued?
No.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is a public hearing request for determination of applicability. Brian O'Keefe, 16 Woodside Terrace, map 85, lot 69.
How you doing? My name is Paul O'Keefe. This is my son Brian O'Keefe and his fiancee Shauna Fusco. They own the house. I've been a contractor in town for 30 years, so I'm just here to answer any questions you may have.
Paperwork in order here. Stefania, was there any issues that you saw with this?
Nope, I have no concerns.
Mr. Holland?
I have none.
All right.
I'm good.
Mr.
Fine,
Caluto? Ah, looks like everyone's all set. Looks like you've done a good application and a plot plan. Everyone looks all set with it. We're outside of the zones. So, this is a public hearing. Anyone here to be heard? Can I get a motion to close?
Motion to close.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries. And as for the request, can I get a negative, motion for a negative determination?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries. You're all set.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
We need to sign too.
I need to sign something?
No, we will.
Oh, okay.
Not like official.
Okay, thank you.
Next item on the agenda is a public hearing, notice of intent, American Marketing Investments LLC, 172 Birdcroft Road, map 152, DD 3051072. Good evening. So what are we here for?
Well, we went before the board, and it got approved. However, they didn't have enough information with the state. So the state wouldn't supply us with the numbers, and now everything's done, and we have the numbers. And she has been in touch with Stefania.
So Stefania, have they taken care of everything?
So a DEP number has been issued for this. So pretty much tonight, we would look at it as if it's a new notice of intent. So
Okay.
any questions, concerns, comments should be addressed.
Okay. So, pardon me? Oh, can I?
Michael Lentz and
Andrea
this is
Lenz.
my wife Andrea Lentz at 172 Ferncroft Road.
So we have a couple of comments from Stefania. Discuss a rock border. We had some additional questions about the rock border that was planned for the site. I guess you need more details on the plan?
It's exactly what we sent the last time.
My question is, so in the description, you talk about the rock border. Is that the rock border that's next to the wetland flags? Okay. So I just don't know if the commission would want more information about that rock border, just
Is
so.
it already there?
We already discussed it
Right.
at the last meeting.
Oh, I wasn't there. Sorry.
Yeah, you were.
Oh, I was?
Yeah.
All right.
We just had to do it in more detail. They
All right.
wanted to see it because they didn't accept what the wetland engineer did.
So I guess my question is, so the rock border, are you planning on putting a rock border in, or are you talking about an existing rock border? Okay. I just want more information about the rock border. So what does that mean when you say you're going
Just
to?
like landscape and rock.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's it. Not to, basically to kind of, how do you, prevent erosion. That's how we were saying it.
Okay.
That's it, just to prevent erosion, but we're not talking about a lot of rocks, because I'm using the rocks that are there now for the front of the house for landscaping purposes.
Decoration.
For decoration only. So I don't want to, I'm not bringing anything into the stream whatsoever, except.
We're trying to prevent anything from going in there. That's why we figured we'd do
So
the,
I would just recommend maybe the location of that rock border is discussed on site with me while you're doing it, just so I can see where it's going and.
didn't we put that on the?
Yes, it is. My concerns is it's right next to the wetland, where it's shown. So we would just want to make sure that it's not right on top of the wetland when we're out
Right,
there.
exactly.
And that there's a buffer.
I thought our other plans was a little more better, you know what I mean? But this is what the state wanted, so we did whatever they were needed.
Okay, so the rock border is going to be in the no disturb zone.
Prevent the erosion.
Is that correct?
That's where it's.
And we're concerned with erosion going into the stream. Reinforced. So the current erosion controls need to be reinforced. And then we have to remove existing fill located within the 25-foot no disturb zone.
I have this look up now at the area that it is right now, and then when we move the fill, I'm going to put the silt on the 25-foot section as well. So that can't get disturbed when I'm doing my landscaping.
And so this 25-foot no disturb zone, are you going to put a rock wall in it?
Not a wall, it's
It's
just
not a wall, it's just-
landscape and rock,
It's
that's
just
it.
landscape on rock, it's not buildable. like-
Yeah, just,
It's
that's
not
it.
high.
Just for-
It's not a wall, don't use the
We're
word
talking
wall.
only small rock.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Decorative
Put in the
rock,
no disturb.
all decorative rock.
Right.
So you don't really need to put decorative rock into the no disturb zone then, because it doesn't really perform any real function.
Well, the function was, basically what the landscaper and I were talking about is when he fixes the 25-foot section by moving that fill out.
Right.
I don't want to have anything go into that stream whatsoever.
Right.
And he suggested the rock area.
It's decorative protective of the 25-foot.
Yes.
Talk about putting it in it.
No, no, no.
But
It's
not in it.
not going to disturb 25.
Well, no, that's what he's saying he's doing. He's
Right.
saying he's,
Right. I know, I
oh,
know.
they're putting it
Yeah.
in the 25-foot no disturb zone.
Just to cover the actual fill that's being basically taken out of there. I don't want it going into the stream whatsoever.
I don't
First
think
time
decorative
around.
rocks is going to prevent anything from going into the stream. You need to stabilize it. After you pull it out, you need to stabilize it with
So,
fast-growing natural
Yes.
natural
like
vegetation.
ferns and stuff, like that was there before.
Right, well, I mean.
It's only a small area, though.
Yeah.
25-foot no disturb around the stream bed, right? We can't be like just ripping fill out, throwing a couple of
No.
rocks down.
No,
We
no,
need to stabilize it.
Yes,
You need
I
to put
wouldn't,
down fast-growing stuff as soon as possible.
Yep.
But, and what's going to prevent erosion into that is at the 25-foot line, you're going to be putting up erosion, firmer erosion control, right? We're taking out the fill.
yes, and then I'm going to bring in
Putting in sedimentation
Yes.
control, the 25-foot line.
and putting another silt there.
And then, but the 25-foot no disturb zone, you need to seed it with something and let it naturally restore.
Yes,
Not
It's not that
rock-
big of a,
put decorative rocks into it. Do you understand what I'm saying? We're restoring it to no disturb.
don't put anything in
Don't
that.
put anything in there except seed to regrow the area. And we can also plant in bushes and things of that nature, if, maybe, to restore it. But these would have to be naturally occurring species that would occur along the riverfront. Okay? So now you're
No
talking about
rocks at all?
not necessarily making you do plantings, which we could, but we need to restore it to naturally kind of like undisturbed vegetation.
Basically, it has, even right now,
Leave it
all
right now.
fern.
Yep.
All
Just
fern.
leave
It's not that
just
big of an
leave it-
area that you
No.
have to
Just leave it the
redo.
way it is.
Yes.
Put up a sedimentation control at your 25-foot no disturb. And are we talking about bringing fill in at this point still?
There's fill
Well,
there.
we're having a professional
But
come
the fill
in.
is going in the front.
Okay.
As
We're not
it
bringing
states.
any more.
No,
We're spreading it out.
Yes.
That's
putting
it.
what
Yep.
is the front. Is that what you understood with the plan?
Yeah, so if you look
So
at the
no
plans,
rocks.
the 25-foot, they're going to remove the fill in that area.
Yep.
They specify where they're going to add fill and how much, which would just be the fill that's on site. They're not bringing in any additional fill, right?
well, the only fill that's going to be brought in is the landscaper bringing in the 3 inches
Right.
for the seed in the front.
Right, which will be out of the buffer zone.
Right, it's not in the buffer
It's-
zone at all.
no.
Right. So. Yeah,
Bringing in
the only
the
thing
topsoil,
would
I
be
mean, not fill, topsoil.
during the work, when you're restoring that 25-foot area, just as if you work with me and I can help you
Yes,
with that.
exactly.
That was in the original order of conditions anyways, so if we just
Keep it?
keep it, I think
All
it's a
right.
good condition. to-
Okay. So what are the
Order?
orders that you're
The
looking for?
landscaping around,
No, not along that.
no.
So these things, these A, B,
Those are my recommended conditions.
right?
Just just to reinforce the erosion controls that are already out there and then work with myself on the restoration.
Sounds like
So,
a plan.
so we can't put any rock border at all?
You can put it at the 25-foot no disturb line if you want.
But you can't put it in the 25.
That's where it would probably be.
Can't
That's
put it-
probably what the landscaper was basically saying, and I would,
You gotta have a nice sedimentation control, a nice border going on
Yes.
right now. If you wanna like
Because-
put rocks.
yes, because that's where he's
and
bringing,
Bushes and stuff like that along it, that's fine. That's in the.
that's where he's bringing his fill to those
From the
rocks.
fence to the stream or to the wetland flags, nothing except natural vegetation.
Okay.
Let it grow back and then. you
Back to where it
have a nice
was.
little border against the no disturb zone.
So you can't, so from, after the flags, you can't either?
25 feet away from the flags.
Okay.
Buffer zone.
From the flags, 25 feet away from them, that's the 25-foot no disturb. That's the most important, that's where all your lawn fertilizers, all the stuff from, all the pollution from the sky and everything goes onto your lawn, and it goes towards that stream. That 25-foot no disturb is preventing and filtering all the chemicals and erosion from going into that stream. It's mostly the chemicals from your lawn that actually pollute the stream the most.
Wouldn't a rock, I'm just saying, wouldn't a rock border decorative be good for that?
No, it's just gonna flow right around it. You need solid vegetation where lawn chemicals go up to it and it just stops. And all those little, and it's kind of like that it's not sort of sacrificial to the actual wetlands and protecting it. That 25-foot no disturb is absorbing and stopping the pollution going towards it.
I was just asking. 'Cause the last time you said it was okay, and now it's changed, you know what I mean? So I'm just trying to understand it.
In the if in the last order of conditions, you were to restore the 25 feet as well.
Right.
Yes.
So that hasn't changed since that first time you,
That hasn't changed, not really changed.
yeah.
Right.
It's just more defined on the
He
rock.
just was looking forward to building a little rock thing going around
On a
it.
25-foot section.
But you really, protecting the stream from the pollution from the lawn, it's like people just going right up to it, like your lawn chemicals flow into it, and then downstream, you start getting like a lot of phosphates and things, and then you get like weeds and stuff start growing out of the river. You might notice that around where the Maselli Bridge is, off of Main Street. You look over at the Shawshene River, it's just filled. That's all from chemical erosion and phosphates and everything coming in from people's lawns and failed septic systems. So we're taking care of the failed septic systems, but we need to make sure that property owners stay away from that river and that stream and keep the pollutants from their lawns from going into it. That's what we're trying to prevent. And then prevent those weeds from growing, then the river can act the way that it's supposed to act and normally function, not with all these weeds growing in it. Right? So, I think we're ready. Anyone here to be heard? I think we're ready just to put a standard order of conditions on the project with Stefania's recommended conditions for reinforcing the erosion controls and removing the existing fill and working with the conservation agent on the restoration of the buffer. All right? So can you get a motion to close the public hearing?
As stated.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. And as for the notice of intent, can I get a motion for a standard order of conditions with the following special conditions? The current erosion controls shall be reinforced prior to the start of work and inspected by the conservation agent. Second special order, after removal of the existing fill located within the 25-foot no disturb zone, an inspection shall occur with the conservation agent and the applicant to discuss the next steps in restoration of the buffer. All right? Get a motion for that?
So moved.
As stated.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Enjoy the snow tonight.
Good luck. Protect those resources.
Can I?
Next item on the agenda is a discussion, Robertson Estates, Lot 20 through 70, Fraser Lane, map 25, lot 86, DP 305711.
They have requested to hold off on this item until further notice. So,
I'm sorry, what?
they have requested to hold off on this item until further notice. So they'll let us know when they're ready to come back, but I think we can just take it off our agenda.
Okay, so no discussion. Next item on the agenda is an emergency certification ratification for James J. Holden, 40 Dyke Court, map 79, lot 85. Have a failed septic. Any issues? Any issues? Can I get a motion for ratify the emergency certification?
So moved.
Stacy.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion carries. And the next item on the agenda is a Conservation Trust Fund request for the MACC annual dues of $60. Any discussion? I get a motion to approve the $60 for the MAC dues appropriated from the Conservation Trust Fund.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Last item on the agenda. Anything else? Anybody? Motion to adjourn? Motion moved.
That's
Second?
motion, yeah.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries. Thank you very much.